So it's getting costly for Israel. It's getting costly for them. And the longer they allow this massacre to continue, the longer that Yemen's going to be blocking that entrance. And Yemen keeps blocking that entrance, guess what's going to happen? Then I guess then their prices are going to go up extremely high. And Yemen said, we ain't messing around. All right, so I wish I had some liquor in this thing because Yemen has been the MVP of the world for the last 6 weeks. 6 weeks or so. So if you got some drinks, bring it up for Yemen. Because Yemen said they pulled a "you shall not pass." I was like, what? All right. So there was a story. There was a story out of country in Yemen. All right. So let me share this with y'all because hang on. Wait a minute. Where is it at? Okay. All right. So let me share with you guys what this article says. This article was good. This is out of the cradle. All right. Cradle. All right. It says Yemen will target Israeli vessels despite U.S.-led naval coalition. All right. So I will get into this article in a second. What has this led to? Let me share this tweet because this tweet, they are shook. All right, so let me have it in my list. Here it goes. Yes. Okay. So, British Petroleum, you in danger, girl. So, this is from them. First of all, it says, breaking, BP says it will pause all shipments via the Red Sea, citing a threat posed by the Yemeni armed forces. 5 of the world's largest shipping firms have also halted operations in the vital lane as Sana'a has pledged to target Israeli-linked ships in support of Gaza. You heard it here, folks. Look it. Y'all heard it here, folks. This is big because let me tell you right now, BP is one of the largest oil producers in the world, right? And Yemen said, do not pass go, do not collect $200. All right, let's get into this because I want to read this. So, and the funny thing is, they don't really necessarily say Yemen per se. They're trying to make it sound like it's really just a tribe or a certain group. Okay, so this is out of Bloomberg, and then we'll get into the cradle. I have it. Okay. Actually, I can enlarge this even more because I really want y'all to see all the deliciousness right here, right show. Oh, yeah. It says BP to pause all tanker transits through the Red Sea. All right. It says, now, here's the it's so stupid. They say, Iran back Houthis attacking ships in support of Hamas. Norway's Equator says it too will start to avoid the Red Sea. You notice how they're saying Iran? That's not what it is. Anywho, let's continue. Let's get into this. It says BP PLC said it will pause all shipments through the Red Sea after attacks on merchant vessels escalated, adding to signs that trade through the vital waterway is grinding to a halt. BP's decision, the most tangible sign of disruption to energy flows since the Hamas-Israel war started, Let me stop right there, because this is how you know it's corporate media. They will always call it the Hamas-Israel war. It is, number one, it is not a war. A war denotes that there are two equal opposing sides. There is not two equal opposing sides. One side, you have the fourth largest military nuclear superpower in the world. On the opposite side, you have a band of paramilitary resistance fighters that are fighting against the fourth most powerful military in the world. That being said, it is unequal, meaning that you have one side, the paramilitary side, that ended the lives of largely 1,200, 1,200 occupiers that they went after, that are a third military people, right? Versus the fourth largest military superpower in the world, that's also a nuclear superpower, that murdered 20,000 innocent people in a tiny strip of land that is densely populated. When you put it like that, that's how you know it is unequal. So it is not a war, it is a genocide and an ethnic cleansing. So this is how you know that Bloomberg is about that BS, because they're calling it a war when in reality it's a genocide. So I just want to stop that right there. Let's stop with the whole, oh my God, Israel-Hamas war. It is not a war, it is a genocide. And you have, it was not just one particular group, it is other Palestinian resistance groups as well that are also fighting against the Zionist occupation that's happening in Israel. So just set that record straight, okay? This is how you know propaganda is afoot. Anyway, says comes days after all the world top container shipping lines said that they were temporarily halting. Norway's Equator ASA made a similar announcement hours later. Okay. So, actually, let me shrink that just a smidge. Okay. All right. Says the move comes as a fuel tanker was struck by an unidentified object on Monday, according to its owner. Attacks are now occurring almost daily. An insurance committee that evaluates maritime risk widened the area in the Red Sea and said it was the most dangerous. Said the disruptions are a stark reminder of the inflationary and economic pressures that make securing the area a top priority. The U.S. and its allies are working on a plan to do that, but hasn't been finalized yet. Avoiding the Red Sea means sailing around Africa, adding thousands of miles to voyages and delaying cargo deliveries. Do you know how big Africa is? Don't look at your maps right now, because some of those maps are inaccurate, because they make Africa way smaller than what it actually is. Africa is massive. It is the second largest continent on Earth. Africa is gargantuan. So, for them to have to, instead of going through into the Red Sea, they literally have to dip all the way down, go around Africa, past Madagascar, past South Africa, and to go all the way up. And remember, Africa comes out way out here because it's shaped like a backwards P, right? And then you have to go all the way around and then up and through the Mediterranean, and then you can get in through. That's the only way you can get into, to go towards Israel. So because of all that, that's a major inconvenience, and it's very costly as well. So let me share this. So this is what's going on. Let me share this as well. Says 2 big oil tankers, Maris tankers, and Uranov NV also said late last week that they're insisting on options giving them the right to avoid the area. On Monday, Uranov went a step further, saying it avoid the area altogether. So these oil tankers are not going through the Red Sea. Says, and this is the Israel link. Says the Iran-backed Houthis say that they are targeting any vessels with a connection to Israel as a response to the country's war with Hamas. Those links have appeared increasingly tenuous in the past week or so, and the owner of the tanker that was attacked on Monday, the Swan Atlantic, said there was no connection. Says there's no Israeli link to the ownership, Norwegian, technical management, Singapore, of the vessel, nor in any parts of the logistical chain of the cargo transported. That's from Reiber and Son, said in a statement on its website. A tanker was transporting biofuel feedstock to La Réunion from France when it came under attack. There was no injuries, and the vessel is sailing using its own machinery with all systems operational. So, under oil and gas, it says Europe's headline natural gas price surged as much as 13%. Because guess what? If they have to spend all this money to transport the fuel, the shareholders aren't going to say, well, we have to make less money. The CEOs are going to be like, well, we're going to take less pay. No, they're going to pass that on to whom? The cost of it to whom is going to be passed on? To the people who literally have to purchase that oil and gas. So if you're in Europe or if you're in Israel and you're getting that oil and gas, if that oil and gas is to your gas stations, your petrol, or if it has to go to your power plants, guess who's paying more for energy? Guess who's paying more for gas? Because now they got to go all the way around Africa just to get it, which means that cost is going to be passed on to whom? Bingo! So let's continue. This is honestly, this is a very good news story. We're going to clap it up for these people who are literally causing this to happen, because we're going to get into their reasons why. It says, we will keep this precautionary pause under ongoing review, subject to circumstances they involve in the region. It says BP and Equinor's approach will put pressure on other firms to follow suit. Equinor chose to route ships in the area, but hasn't taken a decision on further activities. Says the Norwegian oil and gas company is following the situation closely. Says a crewing company that puts thousands of crew on ships from a pool of more than 44,000 workers said earlier that is advising owners to consider alternatives to the Red Sea. Now they say crew welfare. Says BP said that the welfare of its crew in the company's priority, underscoring that the commercial pressures are, for now at least, taking a backseat in the decision of many of the world's largest firms. The Suez Canal, which is the canal that goes through Egypt, emerged as the main route for global LNG, which is liquefied natural gas trade, over the past 2 weeks, bolstered by Europe's appetite for the super chilled fuel as the main replacement for piped Russia gas. Its importance has amplified this year as an Asia-bound cargoes take longer routes amid Panama Canal congestion. The liquefied natural gas vessel Celsius Geneva, heading empty Suez last Friday, diverted away from the Red Sea to go a longer route via the Cape of Good Hope instead. Ship tracking data on Bloomberg show Gunnover Group, which controls the carrier, declined to comment on why. So that's out of Bloomberg, right? So they're basically saying the Iran-backed Houthis are the reason why that they can't get their ships faster and sooner and cheaper to Israel. Well, let's take a look at this. So let's take a look at what the Yemenis said. Actually, hang on. Before I get into that, sorry. I want to share this as well because this gives you more context. Okay. Yes. All right. So I want to give you guys context so things make a little bit more sense. So REJ, thank you so much for this, says the Yemenis are so badass, man. Says the U.S. Eisenhower aircraft carrier is 70 miles distance from the Djibouti and Yemeni speedboats continue their patrol of warding off ships in the same area. Yemen fought against American military equipment for 9 years. They aren't scared of anything. So let's take a look at this. So here's Djibouti, right? So this is right near the Horn of Africa. And so they need to get through here to get into the Red Sea. But they are blocking them and making sure that they can't get in. The Yemenis are saying, hell no, you ain't getting in there. So this is from, all right, so here is the report. All right, so, and if you guys look here, here is going into the Red Sea, right? We see what that red circle is. Let me enlarge this. See what that red circle is, right? But if you go into the Red Sea, the only way that you can get into to go around, let me see if I can enlarge here. The only way you can get into Israel, which is further up here, is you have to go around through the Red Sea and into the Suez Canal, which is what Egypt operates. But if you are blocking this little entrance right there, then guess what? You can't go in. So with that being said, because Yemenis are literally blocking it, then guess what, chicken butt? They literally have to go all the way around Africa. Let me see if I can. Let me get a map of Africa up, so just so you can guys see. Really quick here, just so that we can get more context, because I want everybody to see geographically how this works. So if you guys can see, let me shrink that, and then let's go. Okay, so here, right here, can you guys see? I hope you guys can. Okay, yes, you guys can see. All right, so here, so you have Egypt, Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, and then you also have Yemen, which is down here. So in between that little itty bitty area, see, in order for them to be able to ship through there, they have to go through the Red Sea, they have to go through the Suez Canal. If not, then what they have to do is they have to, and let me pan out here, you literally have to go all the way down. And Africa is massive. You have to go all the way down through the Indian Ocean, past Madagascar, under South Africa, and then you have to go up here, all the way over, and then through into the Mediterranean. So that is a massive inconvenience. Massive. And it takes a lot of money in order to be able to do that, which is money that they do not have. So let's get into the article, because I want to share this with you guys as well. And then I also have a clip to show you. So it says Yemen will target Israeli vessels despite U.S.-led naval coalition. It says in response to U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin's announcement on the creation of a multinational naval operation to patrol the Red Sea, Yemen's Ansarullah-led government said that they will continue targeting the Israeli-linked ships in a strategic shipping corridor. Quote, our position will not change in the direction of the Palestinian issue, whether a naval alliance is established or not. Ansarullah official Mohammed Abdullah Salam told Reuters, stressing that not only Israeli ships or those going into Israel will be targeted. So the only ones that are targeted are ones that are headed for Israel. Our position in support of Palestine and the Gaza Strip remain until the end of the siege. The entry of food and medicine and our support of the oppressed Palestinian people will remain continuous. So ultimately, this is in solidarity with the Palestinian people. That's why Yemen is doing this. Because they said no energy to Israel until Palestinians are supported, until ceasefires are obtained, Palestinians get food, fuel, electricity, and all the things they need, and they are no longer massacred in the region. That's solidarity. That's what Yemen is doing. And guess what? They're doing it with speedboats. That's what Yemen is doing. Let's continue. Announcing the naval operation on December 18th, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said during a visit to Bahrain that joint patrols will be held in the southern Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, which encompass a major east-west global shipping route. He says this is an international challenge that demands collective action. Ansarallah's commitment to oppose what they and others describe as Israel's campaign of genocide against the people of Gaza has led the group to seize an Israeli-linked ship and launch attacks on over a dozen others. The resistance group has also launched missiles at the Israeli port city of Eilat since the start of the war on the 7th of October to oppose Israel's horrific bombing campaign on Gaza that has killed almost 20,000, the majority women and children. So, by the way, just to let you guys know, as far as when they took over these ships, from what I can tell, from what I've seen, and that's been reported by Yemen, no harm has been done to the ship's crews. They have been taken over peacefully. If they take over the ships, if the ships don't turn around, they board the ships, they take them, they say, nope, you guys are not operating the ship anymore, and we're diverting the ship away. We're not taking, you guys are not getting this oil and gas is not going to Israel. Turn around, leave. They're saying you are not going there. And if they check that their destination is not going to Israel, then they let them go. But if their destination is going to Israel, nah, you ain't going there. Nope. That's what Yemen is doing. Because they're saying if the people in Gaza are going to continue to suffer, Israel's not going to have any energy. And energy, as anybody knows, is extremely important. Extremely important. Why do you think that the United States has been at war in Afghanistan, Syria, and in Iraq for all those years? Energy. Largely. Energy. So that's how important it is. Why was the Nord Stream 2 pipeline bombed? Because of its importance. Energy is extremely important. So, let's continue in this article. It says on Tuesday, a British maritime security firm, Ambry, reported a potential boarding attempt of a vessel 17 miles of Yemen's port city of Aden, adding that the attack was successful and all crew were safe. Yemeni attacks on ships in the Red Sea have disrupted maritime trade through the Suez Canal, with commercial ships traveling from Asia westward to Europe, choosing instead to travel around the southern tip of Africa. The detour, this is important, adds 2 weeks to the shipping times and it increased costs significantly. This is damaging to them financially. Yes, that's what it is. It's making it too expensive, right? Despite Secretary of Defense Austin's announcement, AEP Moller Maersk AS, which owns a fleet of more than 300 container ships and controls many more, said Tuesday it will divert its fleet around Africa. Ships firms are waiting to see if the U.S. plan to counter Nasrallah will be successful. Once we see what the effect of this increased security in the area will be for shipping, companies will make an assessment based on that. But it is very early days for that now. Says there are 67 container ships that are rerouted around Africa, and another 75 that are delayed and waiting instructions about which route to take. So, and this is the point. It says, in an editorial published on Sunday, the Wall Street Journal called the disruptions the most significant threat to global shipping in decades. That's how serious this is. Now, let's take a look here. Let me share this clip. Yemen said, not today. No, not today. All right. Let's go.
During a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the U.S. Defense Minister announced a new international mission in the Red Sea, aimed at countering the maritime threat posed by Yemen's Houthi rebels.
In the Red Sea, we're leading a multinational maritime task force to uphold the bedrock principle of freedom of navigation. Iran's support for Houthi attacks on commercial vessels must stop.
This is a battle against the Iranian axis of terror, which is now threatening to close the maritime Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. This threatens the freedom of navigation of the entire world.
Well, it comes after U.S. Central Command said 2 commercial shipping vessels were recently targeted by the Houthis. An oil tanker came under a drone and missile attack, and a cargo ship reported an explosion in waters near its location. No injury.
Now, I just want to make something very abundantly clear. These ships do not have actual defenses. It's just regular civilians that are working on these ships in order to get this oil there. So when you have, oh my gosh, sorry, forgot I had my window open. Anyways, so when you have these ships that are operating, you have these people who are, in military gear that board the ship that are like, no, stop this ship, either turn it around or we'll turn it around for you. But again, the crews are largely unharmed. And it's not like they're stealing it. They're just saying, turn around. You're not going there. So, let's continue.
Were reported in either incident. It follows last month's dramatic scenes when the rebels stormed an Israeli-linked cargo vessel. Well, just days before the reported strikes, Iran's defense minister said that any multinational task force in the Red Sea would face, quote, extraordinary problems.
If the US makes such an irrational move, they will be faced with extraordinary problems. Nobody can make a move in a region where we have predominance.
Well, we heard from the co-founder of the International Action Center activist grouping, Sarah Flounders, who is very much of the view the US often uses Iran as an excuse to escalate tensions in the region.
The U.S. military, the U.S. government has always tried to blame Iran for any resistance which comes from below, from the people themselves. There was a huge, powerful movement in Yemen, not created by Iran. Of course, they blame the very existence of Hamas on Iran. Iran didn't create Hamas. What's dangerous right now is that there may be an effort to really expand the war because it's becoming so disastrous for Israel. There's no way out for them. And so they're raising new threats of a wider war. That's very dangerous. All the people of the world.
So, like she said, they're going to blame Iran for all this, when in reality, Yemen's like, no, we're doing this on our own. But the thing is like, Yemen is not demonized like it is here in the United States, like Iran is. So when you're talking about, sorry, I'm pronouncing it the American way, Iran. The problem is that Iran is constantly being demonized in the United States as some radical government, when in reality, ultimately, if you really want to criticize any entity, you want to criticize, what the United States did, because Iran, was largely more of a secular government back in the 1950s. But the United States decided that no, we're gonna get rid of Mohammed Mossadegh. Wait, did I get Mohammed Mossadegh? Yeah. So they basically got rid of Mohammed Mossadegh and replaced him with a Shah, right? That was the United States doing, because they didn't want Iran to use their oil, use their fossil fuels that they actually had, and benefits largely of the people, which is how you got BP. So now BP's like, we can't, we gotta go around Africa. What do you want us to do? It's crazy. Anywho, she's cooking. Let's let her finish cooking.
And the U.S. is claiming that this is a multinational maritime task force. We'll see, because certainly the shipping companies of the world, the major ones, are deciding not to use the Red Sea. And so that will drive up shipping costs for Israel. That's a big blow that's happening right now. They can't blame Iran on any of that. But they always want to blame someone, not their own policies. And that's who's to blame.
So it's getting costly for Israel. It's getting costly for them. And the longer they allow this massacre to continue, the longer that Yemen's going to be blocking that entrance. And once Yemen keeps blocking that entrance, guess what's going to happen? Then I guess then their prices are going to go up extremely high. And Yemen said, we ain't messing around. Now, this is from their military spokesperson, Iran, and Yemen. Yahya Sari. Let me enlarge this. Oh, I already have enlarged. He says, this is what he said. He said, with the help of God Almighty, the naval forces of Yemeni armed forces carried out a specific military operation against two ships linked to the Zionist entity. The first was the oil carrier Swan Atlantic, and the other was the MSC Clara, ship carrying containers. They were targeted by two sea drones. The operation was launched owing to the ship's crew refusal to respond to calls directed by Yemeni naval forces. The Yemeni army forces reassure all ships heading to all ports across the world, except for Israeli ports, will be safe and must keep the identifying devices open. The Yemeni armed forces will not hesitate to target any ship that violates what was stated in its previous statements. The Yemeni armed forces vows to continue to prevent the navigation of vessels heading to Israel until enough food and medicine are allowed into Gaza, where our steadfast brothers are in dire need of inside the strip. So that is the reason why they are doing what they're doing. And this is causing these energy companies, these gas companies, so much money and so much time. Because to go around the continent of Africa is a 2-week trip. 2 weeks. Today's the 19th. If a ship was near the Red Sea right now, and if they had to go around the southern tip of Africa to get to Israel, or just in the region, period, they wouldn't get there till first week of January from now. So that's how it is. That's why I said Yemen is about that life. Because Yemen said, you're not going to be doing this against the Palestinian people on our watch, and get away with it.